based on my experience. All right. So we're going to be looking at the title slide. We're going to be looking at the market problem. We're going to be looking at what your solution is. So your solution actually is your business or whatever the service or the product that you're offering. We're going to look at your business model, how it is that you're making money. We're going to be looking at the market demand, what exists there, or what is there, because without demand, you have no business. We're going to look at your competition, not because we're thinking that they're scarce resources, but because we want to understand what your competition is doing so that you can be different and better. All right, we're going to look at the growth opportunity. Importantly, we're going to look at your management team. We're going to look at what your financial projection should be. We're looking at the investment strategy, how you're going to utilize the funds that the investors are going to give you. And finally, we're going to look at, how we're going to value the company to make sure that it makes sense to the investor. So let's go. So the first page of your presentation is that you should be looking at introducing yourself, right? Who you are and what it is that you have that gives you that level of credibility to come to the table to be able to pitch to an investor. I want everybody to understand that every investor works hard for his or her money. They are not obligated or entitled to give you the money. So in order for you, or in order for them to say yes, you have to show that you have not only the competence, but you also have an understanding of your business, and you also have an understanding of how you're going to be using their money. All right. Now, many times in pitch events, I hear people say, oh, like the investors ask a question and they go like, no. You have to be so knowledgeable about your business. You have to know it inside out, that any question that they shoot at you, you should be able to answer. And you can also say, can I get back to you with that if you have not yet explored it? But if every question they ask, you're going to get back to them, we're going to have a problem, eh? So we have to make sure that you understand the business. Now, many times I talk to persons that I work with about their businesses, and they will come to you, you have that consultation session and you go through the flow of the business, and the business plan is written and you send it to the individual, and then you ask them a question about the business plan and they go like, but you wrote it. It's your business. If it is that you get guidance from the consultant to say, this is the direction, you have to understand that and buy into that so that you're able to articulate, or talk about your business. Now, pointer number 3 says, deliver your 2-line elevator pitch. Your elevator pitch really is, what is your value proposition? Who are you targeting? Why are you targeting these people? Who are your strategic partners? How are you going to make money? What is the cost, and why should you invest in me? So those are the areas that you need to be talking about in the elevator pitch, and you should be able to have an elevator pitch in 2 minutes. So you have to understand the core and essence of your business so that you're able to write an elevator pitch and present it in 2 minutes, right? You also need to share a brief history of the company. If it has not already been in operation, talk a little bit about why it is that, or what was the vision that pushed you, or what was the mission, or what was that gut feeling that pushed you into starting this business. And finally, state why are you pitching? Why are you here engaging the investor? So the first assignment that I'm going to ask everybody to do is to just to take 2 minutes. I'm going to time you. And just write, no, not 2 minutes, 5 minutes, to just write for me what a good elevator pitch would be for your company, and then you're going to share it for me. All right, and you can just raise your hands when you're ready, and then we'll allow you to share yours. All right, so let's start. Everybody, if you have any questions, please ask them. All right, Otherwise, just quickly write. You have 5 minutes, and I'm timing you to just write your 2-minute elevator pitch for me. Remember, with the elevator pitch, let me remind you, you're going to be looking at your value proposition, that what is that gift that you're giving to the customer? The 5 minutes is still going on. I'm just talking to you while you're doing it. What is that gift that you're giving to your customer? One, who is the customer that you're going after? Two, what is the revenue? How are you going to be making money? Eh? What is the cost? Who are your strategic partners? And why do you want this money? Mm.
You have 2 minutes to go. I am muted. I am so sorry. I was muted. Who can you indicate who would like to say something for me, and then we will allow that individual to speak? Okay, Maliek McCarthy has raised his hand. Can you allow Maliek to speak? I hope I pronounced your name properly, Maliek.
Hi, yes. Yeah, I mean, it's Malik McCarthy. Yes, you
So,
pronounced it properly. Okay,
okay, Maliek.
so all right, so based on what you were asking,
Mm-hmm.
this is it. Okay, so hi everyone. Good morning. Is everyone hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Awesome, great. So my name is Malik McCarthy. I'm the founder and CEO of Clarity Value. Clarity Value, in this case, it's an e-learning platform that allows consumers, specifically students, the opportunity to learn as well as earn value through shared experiences. And I would say like a simple one-liner would be that we invest in what we wish to protect. In everything that we do, we believe that inclusion, nurturing our network, viability, empowerment to engagement, a sustainability model, and trust through transparency, those are what really inspired me personally and others to create growth in all aspects. The value proposition in this case, as a tutoring platform, we wanted to create a marketplace for high quality tutoring, as I mentioned before, to allow consumers the opportunity to learn as well as earn value through their shared experience. And it was actually centered around a quote that I read a couple of years back. And the quote basically focuses on the fact that true teachers use themselves as bridges over which they invite their students to cross, then having facilitated their crossing, joyfully collapse, encouraging them to create bridges of their own. So I wanted to create a educational platform that allows people to have more autonomy, create adjustment within our societal norms as our educational system is more geared towards results rather than having a more value-oriented approach. And there were aspects that I believe that once there's change that are made, value will be added within the process. And that's something that I really look forward to doing moving forward. And pretty much the pricing is very simple. We focus on subscription based or membership based. It's geared towards three areas: 6, 12 months, 24 months. And the customer loyalty over the time, we would actually merge an investment model with the educational platform to allow people to learn as well as earn towards their future. So that was the key intake of what I believe made a difference, because majority of tutoring platforms are geared towards just providing the service and not necessarily create a safety net for students to actually save towards their education. Most of the investments are just made towards paying for the service and not necessarily for them moving forward towards either a tertiary space or vocational training. So I wanted to create a holistic space where majority of companies can come together and add value towards such a platform.
Okay, Malik, first of all, you're very young. That picture that you have up there looks like you're about 8, 9.
My apologies. I'm going to change it. I forgot that that's what I had. But yes, I look very young. Yes, my apologies.
No, man, no need to apologize. I'm just joking with you. All
That's
right,
fine. That's fine.
so Malik, the problem I have though is that you went beyond 2 minutes.
Oh yeah,
That's
no, I
one.
was actually finished. Should I say like thank you, or I wasn't sure because I was actually driving. So while I'm talking to you guys, I'm actually driving, but I actually have everything note-wise that's broken down. I would actually design the pitch pertaining
From
to
that. Right.
Yes.
But you never told me why I should invest in your company.
Oh, my apologies. Actually,
Right.
the line, when I did it the first time, my first pitch, the line that I would say why you should invest is that my dream is to create an entity that thrives through equity.
Right.
And my hopes was to create a stronger guarantee towards individuals seeing all possibilities.
All right.
And
what is in it for me, the investor?
Actually, one of the greatest things that I always would say to an investor is that you will be a natural beneficiary for the future to come, in the sense that there will be a change, or there will be a change in scope with how tutoring is seen nowadays, in a sense that everyone will have children at some point. And I believe that creating that autonomy, where people have a much stronger grip towards their future, I think that a lot of companies would benefit from that. Students every single day have passions, they have dreams, they have purpose. And companies such as Heart Trust, JSIF, and a number of others, investment companies, all financial institutions that you could think of, I believe that creating that biodiversity of an ecosystem, I think that that can add value moving forward. And as an investor or whoever you're associated with, they will know that these natural born talents within these students, you can basically leverage that within whichever company they would best be suited for. So
All
there's
right.
different value propositions in the areas of like internships, community service projects, you name it.
All right.
The yes.
So Malik, 1 second. So what I'm going to want you to do when you're no longer driving is to
Yes.
condense all of that.
Sure, I
Condense
can do
all of it. Take out from it the important points that you really want to communicate to the investor,
okay.
and then carry that down to a 2-minute speech, because based on the time that you started talking to me to now, no investor is going to stand and listen to you for so long. So
No,
you
that
have
is
to
true,
make
that's
sure
true.
that you're able to cram all of that, not speak faster, but take out the important information that you've just shared with me. And importantly, why is it that the investor needs to invest with you? And then you have that in 2 minutes to be able to capture the attention of the investor. All right.
Is it well for the 2 minutes? Would you say? And I just want to ask. This is just confirmation. I know that. Well, what I would want, I was just wondering if it made sense to just say my name, who I am within the company, possibly the tagline or the slogan for the company, or I guess you would say that 1 to 2 sentences to describe what the company does, and move straight to the value propositions. And I'm just asking if that's a good way to go about it.
But you see, the tagline is not important to the investor. What the
Okay.
investor wants to know is, who are you? What are you doing? Who you're targeting?
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, I
So
can
just
make
go straight to those points.
Okay,
Right?
so
Yeah. So you have to look at how it is that I'm going to engage them by giving them the pertinent information that they need to go forward.
so you're saying who am I, what I do,
Right.
and
And
what's the
we're
next
going to
one?
go through who you're targeting, how you're going to make money, and why do you need to invest with me. Right? But we're going to go through a number of these so that so you're able to narrow down your pitch. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome, Malik, and thank you for sharing.
Oh,
All right.
anytime.
So let's move on now. We only have we don't have a lot of time, and maybe we need to revisit this schedule, because I realize that there's going to be some work needed. So we might have to, Kingston Creative, we might have to look at another opportunity where and I know there's going to be some one-on-one sessions, but an opportunity where we make this a little longer, so that we're able to really, really capture the essence of what it is that they're looking for, so we're not rushing through. All right. Now, for the market problem, many times we realize that whenever the entrepreneur is talking, they're about the business or what it is that they do, they talk about their problem. And that is not what the investor wants to know. The investor wants to know, what is the market problem? What is it that is happening out there, why your product is a solution to that problem? All right. And you realize a while ago, Malik spoke about it, but it was all over his presentation. You have to be able to narrow it down. So one, this is the problem that I'm having. This is a problem that exists in the market. There are not enough e-learning platforms that allow for teacher-student engagement, or for teachers to earn money, or whatever it is. That identify that problem, and then say, how am I, or how is my company the solution to that problem? All right. There are a lot of persons out there who are suffering from eczematic conditions on their skin, and there are very few hypoallergenic soaps out there that will prevent a breakout of eczema. All right. There are a number of restaurants present in our society, but very few offer delicious, tasty, palatable vegan food. Problem, okay? Or there are there are a few vegan restaurants out there, but they're all very expensive. The way I creating this product is to allow for you to get a fulsome, nutritious vegan meal at an affordable cost. So you have to first of all identify what is that problem in the market, and then say how it is that my product or service is going to be a solution. If your product or service is not a solution, I can't say this enough. Almost in every presentation, I say this over and over again. You are not going to have a successful company, because if there is no problem, I'm not sure what you're solving. Nobody is certain of what you're solving. And many times creatives go like, but there isn't a problem. Yes, there is a problem. Is it there that you find that there is a gap in the market where we don't have a lot of movies that humanize the hero? For example, I don't know how many of you watch Girl, Resurrection Girl, but that is such an amazing show that brings forth the human side of Girl. So many of us, we hear about Nanny of the Maroons, we hear about Sam Sharp, we hear about Paul Bogle, but nobody has ever humanized them. There's no movie humanizing these people, showing them in love, showing them having to struggle with managing family, and at the same time managing this movement towards change in our society, you know? So there is a problem, but nobody's capitalizing on these problems. And so you're not a solution. So nobody sees your product as something that is that is worth exploring. Another thing I saw was that when you're doing photography, creatives again, photography, are you just taking the picture? I don't know how many of you know, oh goodness, why am I going to bring her up and I don't remember her name, but remember the name of our company. But it's gonna come back to me. But what she does is that she takes pictures and then she distorts them in such a beautiful way, right? That when you look at the the picture, it is just so amazing. It just captures your imagination. You just want to go, oh my God, how can I have this in my place? You know, and it is such a great conversation piece. Kian Patrice is the name. How do I do this? How do I capture the imagination of my audience? And this is what we need to be doing as creatives. How do we identify a gap, a problem in the market, and then how do we allow our products to become a solution? All right, then you have to look at your solution. Why is your solution important in the market space? All right, first of all, we have to discuss how your product solves the marketplace problem. How does it solve it? As I just said a while ago, in creating that movie around Paul Bogle, we're humanizing Paul Bogle. Anybody on this chat right now, if you're Jamaican, all you think about is Paul Bogle and the Mark Bay Rebellion. Who was he married to? Did he have any children? How do we fall in love with our heroes? Because right now they're just there on our money and etched into our minds as heroes. But why are they heroes? How can we create? We realize that we're in a society right now that's very indisciplined and we're very selfish. We're not looking to see how can I help my fellow man. How we're having problems now in our society, or you either PNP or JLP. There is not this consensus towards change. How can we make that difference as a creative? And that is through humanizing and letting people understand that our heroes of the past had a life too. They were busy trying to make money too. They were busy trying to stay in love with their wives too. They had a life just like us. How are we going to humanize that and create that something that our younger generation can jump in and say, oh my goodness, this makes sense. But we find that many of the things that we do is all about the vulgarity. We're not looking at the I'm trying to carry the culture of Jamaica overseas. We're just doing the same old over and over again. All right, creatives. So, and I'm talking to a lot of creatives, but there are many persons on this call. How can we make that difference? And how can we allow for our customers and create some customer development strategies so that we are able to, the customer can say, this is what I want. This is what I want. I am having this problem. I cannot find clean, pure, delicious water on the market. If you're a water connoisseur, right? Every time I drink water, the water is heavy. It's I'm how can I get that kind of water? How are you a solution? How are you a solution to that problem? So I want you to be thinking critically. I know a lot of our education system has been marred around just recall, but we now need to start thinking critically to bring our product and service to the forefront, and for investors to go, aha, this person has a point. This person has a solution to the problem that exists. So we want to be able to do that. Also, let's look at our business model and sales. How are you going to make money? A while ago, Malik spoke about the subscription, that he gets money through subscriptions. How do you make money? Is it through the sale of water? Is it through the sale of a painting? Is it through is it through syndication? Is it through finding a distributor for your product? How do you make money? How are you going to get? Because guys, let me tell you something. If you have a business and you're not making money, you don't have a business. That's just the bottom line. So you have to make sure that you're able to make money, and don't go to the space being very colored or blocked by, this is the product that I have and this is what is going to sell. And your customer development strategies are saying, I don't want that. And you keep pushing it on the customer. After a while, your customer is going to walk away because you're no longer engaging. All right. So we need to look at how you're going to be generating revenue. How do you charge? What is your pricing strategy? Many times when I talk to entrepreneurs, they come into this space wanting to be the cheapest. Why do you want to be the cheapest if you're coming after a value product? You don't have to be the cheapest to sell. If you identify your target market, you understand the problem that you're solving, you are a valuable solution, you can sell your product at the price that it deserves. I've never seen a cheap BMW. I've never seen a cheap Lamborghini Diablo. Never. Because what they have done is that they have identified their target market. They identify what is the problem that the target market is having, and they have created a product that the customer segment is willing to pay for. I was looking at the most expensive vehicles the other day, and there are vehicles that are selling from, I think it was 19 million US dollars, and somebody bought it. You understand me? So whatever it is, as long as you understand the problem, there are persons out there who are willing to pay. So don't believe that your pricing strategy means that it is the cheapest. All right, let's take some questions. I've been talking a lot. Whose hand is raised? Let me see. Daniel, your hand is raised. Daniel, go ahead and speak for me, please. Daniel, unmute and speak for me, please.
Yes, you can hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
All right. I wanted to give it a shot. The elevator pitch.
All right, let's do that at the end. All right. So what we're going to do now is based on Malik's first attempt, let us
Yes.
go through the presentation, and then at the end now you give me an elevator pitch, because you would have gotten the things that we would be discussing as we go along.
Yes, but I have less room for mistake there.
Yeah, but that's it. You'd have less room for mistake because you would have learned. All right. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right. So the 4 participants have raised their hands. Okay, sorry. Who else is there? Mbuto Walimo. Oh my goodness. Mbuto Maulimo. Can you pronounce your name for me, please? And then tell me what your question is.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning again, everybody. This is Culture Boss.
Okay, Culture Boss.
Right. And the name is Mbuta Mwalimu.
Mbuta Mwalimu. Okay, I will call you Culture Boss as of now. Go ahead.
I'm sure you will. Give time. Oh, the question I wanted to ask was, could you please just list the main aspects that we should use for the elevator pitch? Just please restate them.
Restate them for, okay, all right, let's go again. So the first one is, 1, who you are. Who are you? That's the first thing. Then, what is the value proposition? What is it that you're offering to the customer? What is that gift that you're offering to the customer? All right. Number 3, who is that customer?
Yes.
All right. Number 4, how are you going to make money from that customer?
Yes.
Number 5, why would I invest with you? Let us look at those 5 things for the elevator pitch.
Okay.
All right. All right, Culture Boss. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Culture. Nadia Mackenzie. Can we unmute Nadia, please?
Okay, great. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I had a quick question based on the business model and the sales. Right? What if what if I'm in an idea stage, right? And I need the capital, so I need to pitch this to an investor. Do I pitch it once I understand what the problem and what solution I could bring, or am I to wait a bit before I decide to pitch to an investor?
Yes. So a very good question, Nadia. Didn't expect anything less. Okay, so it is very rare that you pitch an idea to an investor and the investor says yes, because what the investor is saying is that you haven't given it much thought. You've just had this idea, you're not coming to me. So you are now putting the responsibility on me to think it through. All right. So what the investor is doing in Nadia is that the investor doesn't want perfection. The investor wants to know that you have an idea and that you have questioned the market. So we go back to the market problem, that you've questioned the market to say, is this really a problem? Is this really a solution for a problem in the market? Right? After talking to the market and the market saying, yes, have I tweaked my idea in such a way that it is now answering the problems? Sorry, yes, and is now a solution to the problem. And then I'm now saying, how can I then make money from it? Because in your customer development strategies, which is actually talking to the market, is to say, how much money can I charge for something like this? How much are you willing to pay for a product like this? You understand? And so in fleshing this out, the investor will then say, oh, Nadia has put some work into this? Or is it that she just have this idea in her head and thinking that I'm going to be doing the work for her? You understand? So you have to be able to get yourself into that space where you are going through. So all the things that we're going to discuss today, you have to carry yourself through that process. Get yourself to understand. And as I said, they're not looking for perfection, Nadia. They want to know that there is thought. Because when they realize that some thought, some action, some activities have gone into this, then they are now willing to say, okay, this is somebody that is worth exploring, than to just somebody say, oh, I have an idea of doing, making a pen that has gel, that's a gelling pen. Yeah, but what is the market saying? They would ask. Why am I investing? Why am I wasting my time in investing when you haven't been able to tell me what the market is saying? Eh? So these are the things that you need to explore. Okay, Nads?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Malik and Fitzroy, can you just lower your hands for me since we've already... Oh, have we spoken? Fitzroy, have you asked? I'm sorry. Fitzroy, I haven't spoken. Fitzroy, your time, quickly. Fitzroy, have you unmuted? Hello. Fitzroy.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I have lowered my hand.
Okay. You no longer have a question?
No, I don't. The question has already been answered.
Okay. All right. Great. Fabulous. All right. Let's move on. All right. So everybody's clear on the business model, right? You have to, let me just minimize this. So you have to be able to say how you're going to generate revenue, and guys, keep the explanation simple. Sometimes I'm having some conversations with entrepreneurs. You're telling me how you're making revenue and I'm confused by the time you finish, completely confused. Remember that there are many times when an investor is not in your line of business. So don't expect them to be trying to gnaw through all that you have said to make it make sense to them. So you have to be as simple as possible. All right. And what is your channel strategy? How are you going to get to your customers? Everybody these days believes that social media is the answer. Not necessarily. What about conversations with your customers? What about identifying who your real customer is, getting their names and telephone numbers, calling them, having a conversation with them, trying to close that deal, and allow them, because of their excitement and enthusiasm about your product, tell other people about it. Not that it is not supported by social media, but I find that everybody is just relying on social media to carry them through, and it is not. Because if you have not properly identified your customer, your social media post might not be reaching your customers, because the person or individual that you're using in the social media post might not even reflect your customer. So your customer is between 45 to 55 years old, but you have a 25-year-old in the picture. Your customer is not going to be attracted to that. They're not reading it, because you're not targeting them. You have to understand how your customer speaks. Let me tell you, my daughter sent me a message one time and she said TTYL, and I spent 50 minutes trying to figure out what TTYL mean. If you're going to talk to me communicating, you cannot put TTYL, because I don't know what that means. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to be able to understand who your customer segment is, or what your customer segment is, and then craft the message to speak to your customer segment. All right? And don't laugh at me because I did not mean talk to you later, but it happens. All right. So now we've looked at the problem. We've looked at you becoming a solution. We looked at your business model, how you're going to be making money. Then we're going to look at, very importantly, the demand. If there is no demand for your product, let me just say this again. If there's no demand for your product, you might as well close your shop and go home. in economics, demand and supply, the two most important factors in business, demand and supply. As the entrepreneur, you are supplying. Therefore, you need the other side, which is demand. Now, the question is, how are you going to be able to understand your market, quantify the market size, allow for your customers to come to you, look at what are the key attributes of your target customers, and show the urgency of your product or service, or why it is that they need to buy your product and buy it now. And guess what? You can only buy the product, you can only encourage your customers to buy the product and service now because there is a demand, because there's a problem that they want to solve. Understand that, everybody? If you have any questions, don't be afraid to raise your hands. All right, but I want you to fully understand this. I want you to be able to assimilate it. Think about your business right now. Don't be just caught up in a silo that I have the best business ever. No. Open your minds to, I have a company or I have a business that I'm trying to develop. How am I going to strum up a demand for that product or service? All right, you have to be thinking through these things. All right. Now, this is very important. Your competition is important. All right. So you have to be able to, sometimes I talk to some entrepreneurs and I go, who is your competitor? I don't have any competitor. Well, guess what? You're going to have an amazing business. But most times, there's a competitor. And remember, the competitor does not have to produce the same product as you, but the competitor can provide a product that is a substitute for your product. Right? So I go to the supermarket and I want say I want to bake a cake. All right? And my product is a cake mix. Let's get that granular. My product is a cake mix. But then the customer gonna say, I can buy my egg myself, buy the sugar, buy the butter, buy all the ingredients, and make the cake myself. They can. How do you craft your marketing message to let them move from having to go and cream the butter and sugar themselves, adding the eggs, adding the flour, making sure that it comes out just right, to saying this cake mix, this particular cake mix over JF Mills, over Duncan Hines, why is it that I'm buying this particular one? And you can only do that through an understanding of your competitors. All right, so Malik, you have competition in the space. It might not be as structured as your business, but there is a competitive landscape out there for your type of business. So the question is, Malik, what are you doing to define that value proposition so that customers want your business or wants to go onto your platform over all the other platforms that are out there? That becomes a critical question. So you have to create a comparison chart of your competitors. Who are your competitors, right? And the comparison chart must be premised on what are the things that the customers want. So this is me, this is my company. These are the things that my customers want. And these are the other companies below, and just some of them that they offer, but I offer all of them, or I offer the things that are more important. How are you able to compare yourself? All right. It also says that we're to include large and small companies, those who are established and better known, as well as the upcomers, right? So therefore, you have to say, okay, so Grace Kennedy has been in the market for a while. Separate has been in the market for a while. Mosons has been in the market for a while. I am coming in new. How do I do it different from these customers? I am doing bottled water. Wisinko does bottled water. Catherine Peak does bottled water. 876 does bottled water. Lifespan does bottled water. How am I going to make it different? What it is that the customers are going to buy? And can I just tell you, do not compete on price, because a price war only kills you. It does not help the market space. All right, it's just going to get the customer getting the product, and then a company is going to die, because a large companies can just reduce their price, keep reducing the price until they kill you. So don't try to compete on price. And if you compete on price, don't let price be your only competitor. All right, or competitive advantage. All right, so we're moving on. All right, describe what it will take for your customers to change. Why will your customer move away from? And you have to understand this. You have to understand this, because the investors are going to ask you, oh, but Separate is offering bottled water. Why would your customer buy your bottled water? What is it? Why is it that they're going to make the change? And what will it take for them to make the change? Is it that you're going to inform them that water not so good? Are you going to inform them that your water is better? So these are some of the things that you need to look at, okay? Your sales and marketing plan. This is one of the most important parts of your business strategy. All right, we have an hour to go. I did a presentation recently on your sales and marketing strategy. Now, guys, your sales and marketing strategy is so important. You have to start out with your funnel, right? So first of all, you have to identify who are your customers. What is that addressable market? Nadia, who are the people who want my product? Who do I think are the people who need the product that I'm offering? All right, then you have to go after them. You go after them and you put them in your sales funnel. And as you start to have that conversation, and so you'll be making your cold calls, making your cold calls. And then as you're having that conversation, and what's called a funnel is that not everybody who goes in is going to come out on the bottom. It's just those that are who really need your product is going to come out. So you have to bring them through that funnel, right? And so you pull them in through your cold calls. The conversations that you're having with them will then help you to identify if this is really somebody in your target market. And it also helps you to flesh out your product a little bit more. Because if in your sales calls, people are saying, no, I don't really think that this is how I want it, or can you add this? Then you say, of all the persons who I'm talking to, how many of them are saying, can I improve? Can you improve on the product? Then it helps you to go back to the design stage to say, can we add this to the product to make it even better? So you have to understand your sales plan. You really need to look at, first of all, that there are two main areas, guys. And I want everybody to get this into their heads. There are two main areas of growth, of sales growth. One is customer acquisition. What does customer acquisition mean? Getting customers, getting new customers. The second one is deepening share of wallet. And what does that mean to deepen share of wallet? A customer comes to you and buy X. How can you get the customer to buy X plus Y from you? Did I say two? Sorry, the third one is repeat customers. So there are three. Repeat customers. How do I get the customer to come back? And not only come back, but to refer other persons. So supporting that, you're going to have your referral strategy. So let's go again. What is your customer acquisition strategy? How are you going to get customers? Two, how are you going to deepen share of wallet? So your existing customers, how are you going to get more money from them? Thirdly, how are you going to get the persons who have purchased from you before to purchase from you again? And included in that is looking at your referral strategy. What are you going to do to allow customers to refer other persons to you? All right. So guys, I want you to think about that. Because we're going to have a little discussion in the last 15 minutes of the presentation. We want to have a little discussion where we're going to open the mics, right? And you're going to be telling me, as I ask you about your particular company, you know, what is your sales and marketing strategy? How are you going to get customers? Who have you identified to be a target market? What are you doing to ensure that your product is a solution to the problem that the customer market, the customer target has, or the target market has? All right. Okay. We're looking at your business model in a little bit more granular. We're looking at what is your price? Well, how are you selling? How are you pricing your product? And how are you pricing your product against your competitors? You know, what is your recurring revenues? Malik spoke about subscription. All right. How do you get monies coming in on a regular basis? How many of your products do your customers need? All right. Is it that is it going to be a one-off purchase and then they disappear? Or is it going to be repeats? Looking at accounts receivables. Everybody knows what accounts receivables is, right? These are persons who owe you money and they are current assets. So accounts receivables is so critical because you always have to make sure that your money coming in on time. Because as you expand, you're going to have your payment terms, right? And your payment terms is 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, 45 days, whatever it is. How are you ensuring that your customers pay on time? Because you need your cash flow. Cash flow is king. So you need your cash flow to be coming in. All right. So those are some of the important things that you need to be looking at. Now, this is also very important, guys. Please allow me to just drink some water. Sorry. Okay. I know a lot of companies, maybe started by just one person, right? Because it's your idea. Now, it becomes important, guys, for you to look at what are some, first of all, to do a gap analysis, a skills gap analysis on yourself. And you have to be honest. You have to say to yourself, boy, I'm a good painter. I'm a good hairdresser. I'm a good writer. But I don't have these particular skill set. And these skill set are critical to the success of my company. Opal has spoken about sales and accounts receivables. What is that? I don't understand that because that is really not my forte. Do you just then keep focusing on your product and leave all of the other important business acumen that you need just out there? No, you have to go and you have to identify people in the space who understands business and get them to help you to build on your company. An investor, let me say that differently. It is very difficult and rare that an investor invests in a company where there's only one person. You have to get persons with the skill set. And you see the first point that is here, it says show the strength of your team as individuals and evidence of how effectively you work as a team. So I say, okay, so my company is this, and my strength is writing, but then I have a marketer who will market. I have an accountant who understand the numbers, understand accounts receivables, understand the balance sheet, understand the profit and loss, right? I have a salesperson who will help me to create my sales funnel, help me to write develop my cold call techniques, help me to write my script. Are you identifying these persons? And you don't have to employ them. You can contract them. right? You can say, okay, Opal, I know that this is your strength. Can you help me with this? Okay, Suzette, I know that you're good in accounting. Can you help me with this? Right? And you pay according to the work that they're doing for you. But you have to develop a management team. For those of you who are interested in the Ignite program, that's starting up in a few weeks, I think, well, in a few days, you're going to need to have a management team. So try to find some people in this space who are genuinely willing to help you to get to the next level. All right. So I remember, say, pointer number 3, indicate if it's full-time or part-time. They don't have to be full-time employees. All right. And it's always good to have your board of advisors. You know, your board of advisors, you don't pay. It's just some experts in the market who you can go to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I want us to meet at least once per quarter to just discuss what it is that I want to do, and they will support you. All right. So the management team, Malik, your management team is critical. All right. So make sure that you work on that. Your current status. So Nadia said if it was ideal, so in a case what Nadia is talking about now, you wouldn't be talking about your current status if you do not have customers and you have not been selling. But if you have been selling, it's always good, even if it is a small amount, it's always good to say. So you talk about your sales to date, you talk about your strategic channels and your partners. Guys, it is so critical for you to have strategic partners. When you look at the business model canvas, that is an entry on it. Who are your strategic partners? Who are the people in the industry that I'm working with in order to bring my company to the next level? I'm not seeing any questions. That means I'm clear, right? You have to be able to say, these are my customers. And guess what? You have the social proof. That's your testimonials. You have to somebody who said, boy, Nadia, Nadia works for me and I know that she does an excellent job. Can you share that on my website? Can you write something for me and let me put it on my website so that persons know that I do a good job? All right. And then we talk about comparing your pipeline to sales needed to achieve cash flow break even. Now, guys, I said to you before, cash flow is king. You don't have to make a profit. An investor is not looking at profitability at the outset. What they're looking at is your ability to generate a cash flow. Some monies need to be coming in. Monies go out through your payables, but how much do you have at the end of the month to go back to cover your expenses the next month? Cash flow is king. So we're not looking for profitability. Amazon took 7 to 8 years to get profitable. That's not what we're looking at. We're looking for cash flow. Bear that in mind. And you have to understand the difference between cash flow and profit. There is a significant difference. All right. All right. Your financial projections. This is something that a lot of people run away from. You have to look at your business. So after you have fleshed out your customers, your addressable market, because you've identified your customer, your target markets, I'm sorry. You fleshed out the solution, which is your product and service. You fleshed out your business model. That means how it is that you're going to get your product to these people and how much it is that they're going to buy. How are they going to pay for it? What channel are they going to use? Is it going to be subscription? Is it going to be online payments? Is it going to be whatever it is that you're going to be getting money? You now need to understand how is it that you're going to get monies to plow into the business to get it to that level where you're able to break even. All right, and break even is where what? Anybody can tell me what is your break even point? Hi, Malik. Go ahead, Malik. Go ahead, baby Malik.
Yes, your break even point is when you have an initial investment and the amount of sales you make, it meets that point, like that same point. So, for instance, if I had a loan of 500,000 and I made back 500,000, then that would be considered my break even point.
You sure?
Repeat that. Repeat
Are
that.
you 100% sure?
Well, I would say that what I've learned what break even point was that you basically don't owe anymore, that you start to make money. Because it's
Right,
like,
but
for instance,
it's not necessarily just your loan though. It's
no,
not
not saying
necessarily
alone. I
yeah.
would say that it's like your investment in the company, you meet that point. So you reach the point where you invested. So you've invested $5 million for the company in the startup. You not only made the $5 million back that you invested in, people normally consider that the break even, but then you start making profit moving forward. So that's what most startups expect to do within the first 6 to say year, like 6 months to a year, or probably 2 to 3 years, and then you start seeing profit over time.
Yeah, and let me just stick to 2 to 3 years. Okay, don't think that you're going to make profit in 6 months. You rarely find companies who make profit in 6 months.
Yes, I understand that. But I was just wondering if that was the response that you were.
Yeah, man, that's fine. But 6 months, you're not going to get profit in 6 months.
No, sorry, my apologies. For me, to speak specifically for my business,
yeah,
the 6 to 12 months would really be market validation and really connecting with different organizations to receive affiliate partnerships,
right.
as well as just
building out your
understanding the
strategic
marketing.
partners. Right. And that and Malik is such an important point. Avon, as soon release you, Avon, to speak. Guys, it is the point that Malik made is so important. You see, in your first year of operation, don't be so concerned about profitability. Be concerned about creating that perfect product that you can take to that you can replicate and then scale. So as Malik said, you have to be understanding your customers. You have to be validating your product. Not to say this is the product and I'm going to stick to it to death. How am I going to get it right? How am I going to get it right for my customer? How am I going to get the cost of production to such a space where I'm able to make the margin? That is what you need to be focusing on. All right. So that's for your first year of operations. That's what. So don't think you're going to make a profit in the first year. Unless Elon Musk had blew up 7 rockets, and a rocket is not 300,000 Jamaican dollars. It is not even 300,000 US dollars. He blew up 7 rockets. So just know that you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make mistakes, right? And segue right into Avon. Avon, we're going to make mistakes, but guess what? We're going to then move to the next level, right, Avon? Over to you.
Absolutely. Going back to your question of break even, what I understand break even to be is when your revenue now covers your expense, your operation expenses.
Right, they're equal. Yeah, that's the same point that Malik was was conveying. It's just that he expressed it as an investment instead of your expenses. So yeah, right. It's when you're So we try. So, go ahead.
So when you talk about profitability and time period, different businesses I think have different spans in which they become profitable.
Right.
There was once a story about a steel corporation that took 15 years to become profitable. But when they did, they dominated the space and became a monopoly.
Right.
What
was important to them though, Avon?
What was important to as in their survival?
Yeah, because if they're not making a profit, why would they be able to go through 15 years?
Because they're able to break even, cover all those expenses to continue manufacturing.
One more thing.
I'm not sure.
Cash flow.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because you're all right. Remember, guys, cash flow, Avon, is that you have monies coming in to cover your cost of production for you to continue to survive. And your
Right.
your inflows can either be monies that you borrow or money from sales.
Your cash
that is,
flow can be
yes.
money that you borrow
So your
or money from
inflows,
sales.
right? So your inflows can be debt or equity. Let me say it properly. Your inflows can be debt
Okay.
or equity, so money invested in the company, plus money that you're making from sales.
Right.
Right? And
Right,
so that's your accounts receivables or your funding. And that money that you get every single month, you're able to cover your expenses.
Right.
Even if you're just breaking even, but guess what? You're covering your expenses. So that is what that steel, right? So that is what that steel company did. They were able to manage their cash flow, their inflows in such a way they're able to cover their expenses, right? And keep building and keep building and keep building until they're able to get to this space. All right,
Right.
that's critical.
Right. So Opal, before you move on, like in this scenario, so maybe you don't know about it, and I'm the one that brought it up, so I probably should know more. But like in a scenario like that, all expenses, say I am the one that started the steel corporation and I set the business in place to make. All right, so the expenses are 100 million per year. Those expenses include all salaries, salary for also the owner of the business, because it is difficult for someone to think that, oh, I'm operating a business for 15 years without the business becoming profitable. But the person as an entrepreneur, the person as the business owner, they have to be sustained throughout this time. So this salary falls in the expense category, correct?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes, it does. Yeah. So if you trust me, Avon, no company can operate without the boss not getting any salary for 15 years.
Right.
Right.
That's
So when
exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, when you're documenting your expenses, your monthly recurring expenses, the salaries have to be a part of it. In fact, salaries is a critical part of that, because without your staff members, you don't have no business, because you're going to run it by yourself, right? Right. So you have to make sure that you're doing that, eh?
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. You are welcome. All right, guys. So let's move on, because I want to make sure that everybody gets the time to ask questions in the last 15 minutes, and we have a few minutes to go. All right. So let's look at our revenue here. Anybody can tell me what is revenue? Just raise your hands. Raise your hands. Talk to me. May I just invite you all to not talk to me on WhatsApp while we're on this thing, because just ask the questions in the chat, okay? Because I can't manage both. All right, great. So I see some hands raised here. Culture.
Yes, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
I know why you're laughing.
Go ahead.
Oh, so the question is, what are revenues?
What is your revenue?
Yeah, I'd say money coming into the business by the operation of the business.
From what?
Money coming into the business via the operation of the business.
Explain.
So if you sell bag juice and you make sales, that would be considered revenue. Yes.
All right. So if you get a grant, is that revenue?
Yes. And loans also.
No. Okay. No. If you get a loan, is that revenue?
I'd suspect no. Now that you said a grant is not
right.
Revenue.
It's not revenue.
Oh.
Your revenue is coming directly from the sales of your product.
Interesting. Thank you very much for that, Opal.
Yeah, man. It is. So you have to understand the difference. You have to understand the difference, eh? Because what you're trying to do at the end of the sorry. What you're trying to do at the end of the end of the day is to understand how much of your the income that is coming into your business is coming from the sales of the product. You understand? So you
Yes, I
have to
do.
look at so you have to look at that as your revenue coming in, right? So that's important. Um,
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Malik, you wanted to say something?
Yes. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I was actually, well, you did say it. Basically, what I remember, revenue is normally just the average sales price times the number of units sold. So you didn't mention it. You didn't mention that it's actually sales.
Yeah,
But
it
one thing that
says.
was interesting to me is that what I want everyone here to understand is that revenue, what makes it special is that we mentioned it earlier when it comes to cash flow. Revenue itself is the amount of money you make, and then obviously profits would be, subtracting expenses, of course. But is that readily available money? Because when it comes to cash conversions, what we have to focus why revenue is important is that readily available cash to pay on expenses, such as salaries, the operating costs, where if it comes to materials or software or whatever you're doing to make the business operate, functional. Well, to
All right.
function moving forward. So
Yeah.
that's all I understand.
Okay. Thank you, Malik. Next time you run this session, okay, Malik?
Okay, my apologies.
No, Malik. I'm just come on, Malik. You have to have a sense of humor. It's early Saturday morning. Yeah, man.
I'm running errands while I'm actually trying to be tuned into this business meeting, and I'm literally at a Starbucks charging my phone because it shut down earlier.
Oh,
Well,
so Malik is a
I'll,
true
wait,
entrepreneur, guys.
before you guys, is it possible to send the pre-recording or the slides? Is that possible?
Yeah, man. We will share the sides with Kingston Creatives, and then they'll
Awesome.
share
Thank
them
you
with
so much.
all. You are so welcome, Malik. All right, guys. So we have to understand our revenue, eh? And so we have our revenue. What is our cost of goods sold? Anybody can tell me what is your cost of goods sold? Also called direct cost. What is your direct cost or your cost of goods sold? No hands raised. All right, okay, fine. You guys want to leave? Oh, Anna K. Save the day, Anna K. Tell me what is your cost of goods sold?
Hi, I'm just guessing right here. Would it be the cost for the production of the goods being offered or the product being offered?
Very
all
good.
The price that constitutes making that product available to the consumers.
All right, so it is the production cost. Don't mix up price and cost. All right, sweetie. So it's your cost. All right. So anything that costs you to produce the good.
Okay.
You get it, Anna K? Anything that costs you to produce the good that you want to sell. So say, for example, Anna K. Anna K, what do you do? What is your business?
So I currently run an accessory business. So it's in the line of fashion. So currently I'm making like belts. I started making earrings, but I've been making these items from leatherette.
Okay, so what would be your cost of goods sold?
So I consider the cost of goods sold to be the cost from the leather or leatherette.
Mm-hmm.
I've also thought about the cost to make per each product.
Right.
And I've also considered even the cost to travel to get them.
Right. Very good, Anna K. And if you're guessing and get them all right, you deserve a gift. So the next time I see you're going to get $1 million, Anna K. So that's it, guys. Anything that having to do with the direct production of the good. Let me ask a question. I know none of you might not be in a BPO space, but in a business process outsourcing company, say somebody in here should decide to start one. What would be the cost of goods sold? Or your direct cost? Come on, man. Come on. Somebody guess no, man. Anaki, you guess, since you were so bright a while ago. Avon? Nobody's trying this one? All right, one hand is up. Daniel, go ahead.
Well, I think the cost of goods sold would be to pay the employees.
The direct cost.
Yeah.
Which employees?
The ones that are doing the call, taking the calls.
The call center reps, yeah. Yeah, very good. Because that is your production line. You realize that, everybody? Guys, I'm sharing these examples with you. So you look at your business, you can have an understanding. So that's your production line. So although Anna Kay said she bought leather and leatherette and the cost of producing the leather belts and earrings, etc., that she makes. So that's one aspect of it. But in this space where your production team is the call agents and your call agents is the direct cost. Get that, everybody? Cool, cool, cool. All right, Avon, you wanted to ask a question, or are you good?
Yeah, sorry, I'm not responding as quickly. I'm actually working right now. But for the BPO sector, would the things like your bills for the internet and stuff be considered in that cost of goods, or those are general expenses?
Yeah, I would put
operation of the business.
Yeah, I would put it on a general expense.
Okay.
Yeah, cost of production is really that payroll to your to those people.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are accountants who might struggle shift it a little bit, but the important thing is to understand that is the cost, the direct cost of your cost of goods sold are the costs associated with the direct production or manufacturing of the goods that you are selling or the service that you're selling. That's critical for you to understand. What is your gross profit? Look here, I have 33 persons on the call, you know. I can't keep hearing from the same people over and over again. What's your gross profit, guys? Nobody, you want me to call Sherry? No, Sherry, I think Sherry might be a team member. Rosemary Walker?
That's the total cost of.
Avon, how you answering, Avon?
I don't.
You should not
I didn't even know I was unmuted. I was just talking to myself. I'm so sorry.
All right, let's take off Avon. I don't want Avon to answer.
Right.
Who else? Rosemary Walker. Can we unmute Rosemary? Rosemary, I hope you're not doing housework and you can answer. Rosemary? Hi, she's answering.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, Rosemary. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
What is your gross profit?
It's the profit a company makes after deducting the costs associated with the selling the goods and services or the products.
That's all like it's straight from Investopedia, Rosemary.
Straight from the internet.
All right, so basically you have your revenue, Rosemary. So you have the money that you make from the sale of your products, right? So you have, say you sell 20 bag juice, Rosemary, and you sell 20 bag juice at $10. That means your revenue is $200. The cost to produce the bag juice is $100. That means 200 minus the 100 is $100. So your gross profit is $100. So next time you don't have to run to the internet, Rosemary, just know that when you take away your cost of goods sold from your revenue, it gives you your gross profit. All right. Then now we look at all the other expenses that happen. So your marketing, your other wages, your your office supplies, all of those things now fall under operations. And then you now subtract that figure from your gross profit, and it will give you your profit, your net profit. All right. And as you're going through your as you're preparing for your pitch deck, you have to look at your projections from year 1 through to year 5. So you say, okay, in the first year, I'm expected to make 1,200. In the second year, you're projecting to increase. If you project to decrease, something is wrong. So you're increasing, but then your cost of goods also has to match that, because the more revenue you make, therefore your cost of production must also go up, until economies of scale set in, where it becomes almost constant, but your revenue keeps increasing. And I know I'm calling some terms that a lot of you might not be comfortable with, but don't worry yourself, okay? We're going to get there one day at a time. Cost of packaging is considered in your cost of goods sold. Yes, you can consider cost of packaging as it refers to the product that you are selling. Right? So Anna K, you asked the question. So say you're selling this bottle of water. You're only going, your cost of goods sold is only for the bottle of water, the amount of bottles of water that you have sold, and the packaging and everything that associated with this product. All right. So you're not going to take all of your packaging and subtract it from your revenue, is a point I'm making. All right. Hope that was clear, Anna K. All right, guys. So this is it for your financial analysis. As you go through, any questions you have, remember we have 15 minutes at the end for us to discuss. Let me make sure that we don't gone over that 15 minutes yet. Okay, I have a few more minutes to go. All right, guys, don't be afraid to ask questions. All right. All right, investment strategy and use of funds. Now, guys, this is so important, right? Whenever you are going to an investor for money, you have to understand your business. You have to understand what it is that you want. You're asking them the money to do. You're going to be using the money to do. You have to have an understanding of how much you're looking for. So you can't go to an investor and say, I'm just looking for some money. You need to say, I'm looking for 150,000 US dollars. And this is what I want it to do. I want it to buy capital expenditure. I'm teaching you accounting terms. That means I want to buy fixed assets. I want some for working capital support. That means I want some monies to carry me through my day-to-day operations and activities. All right. So you have to be able to understand how much money it is that you're looking for. You also have to understand the form of investment. Do I want it as debt? Do I want it as equity? If you want it as equity, you have to be willing to give up some of your company, a percentage of your company. If you want, and you have the luxury after that of patient capital, meaning you don't have to be paying back that money right away. That's for equity. All right. If you have any questions, write it down so we can discuss it in the last 15 minutes, right? So if you're going to be going in as equity, you have to be willing to give up a percentage of your company. And you also have the luxury of patient capital, meaning you don't have to pay back the monies right away. If you're going to be going in as debt, meaning you're getting a loan, then you know that although you might get a moratorium, which means you might get 6 months or 3 months that you don't have to pay back the principal, you still have to pay back the interest. The principal is the amount of money that you borrow. The interest is how much the bank is charging you for the money that you borrow. Remember those terms. So in a structure with a debt, you might get a moratorium. Know that word, where they're saying that for the first 6 months, you don't have to pay back the principal, but you have to pay the interest. So know that with debt, you don't give up any of your company, but you must be willing that every month you have to pay back some monies towards the debt. And if you don't pay it back, you're going to run into problems. All right. Now, on an equity structure, you cannot give up a percentage of your company if you don't know the valuation of your, if you can't value your company. All right. Now, there are a number of ways to value your company. I'm not going to get into that today because that's very technical, but there are many ways in which you can value a company. You can actually get a valuator to value a company or an accountant who has sense to value a company. Sorry about that. Okay. Now, if your company values X and the investor is giving you Y, then you have to say Y upon X is going to be the percentage of the company that I'm willing to give to the investor. Sometimes they ask for a little bit more. Sometimes they ask to actually sit on your board. And that would be a good, that should come with a yes, because they will also bring that certain level of expertise. I want to say something to you guys because it is very important. A lot of companies, a lot of businesses, small businesses are apprehensive about getting investors on their board or sharing their product idea with others because of fear of stealing. If you don't share your business idea, you're not going to get marketed. All right. If you properly create your business, you get your management team, you understand your business model, you understand your customer problem, you know that your product is a solution, you've done your customer development strategies, you understand your financials. If somebody else comes into the market or steals your idea, all right, you would have first movers advantage. So you'll be way ahead of the game. But you have to understand that the only way that you're going to get investment is if you tell people about your company. All right. Ladies on the call, it's just like if there's a guy that you like, a good looking guy that you like, drop him 6 feet. Like, let me not describe any guy before any the other guys on the call get upset with me. But there's a drop dead gorgeous guy that you like, and you don't tell anybody, you keep it to yourself. How is he going to know that you like him? And guys, if there's a girl that you like and you keep it to yourself, how is she going to know? You have to, just like how you go princess and you're pre the person, like the gentleman said me the other day, like he's pre me. You have to pre your investors. You have to tell them what it is that you want to do and let them see if they have an interest and want to invest in your company. All right. You have to understand how you're going to use the proceeds. You have to understand, do I need additional monies in the future? Because you might get some monies knowing that to carry you to a particular level, but then you know that in the future you're going to need some additional funds. And finally, I spoke about that just now. What non-cash assistance do you wish from your investor? So non-cash investment is like support, advice that you're going to need from your investor. So you have to look at that. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go to the last one because I want to make sure that we have the 15 minutes and we're just about there. I want us to talk a little bit about your risk assessment. What's the next one? Liquidity. Okay, fine. So let's talk a little bit about the risk assessment. You cannot say that there are no risk associated with your business. There are risks associated with your business, and you have to be willing to share those risks with your investor. There is a risk of a downturn in the business because of a change in the client's appetite towards whatever. There might be a risk to the business because persons might not be willing to adapt to the technology as quickly as we want them to. There's a risk in the business because a lot of persons don't understand the whole concept of veganism, and as such, there might be a while before they step into that space. There are there are risks associated with every company. You have to be able to think about that risk and you have to document that risk. But what is also important is that you have to look at ways that you can mitigate that risk. How am I going to mitigate? You might not be able to eliminate the risk, but you have to be able to mitigate the risk. And how do you do that? And you can segment the risk by your product, by your market, operation, finance, and how you're going to execute. All right, you have to strike a balance between optimism and realism. How is it that what am I optimistic about in the company? So it's your company, you're excited about it, but you also have to look at the realistic environment. Many of us never thought about COVID and the impact that COVID would have had on our business. All right, we have to be realistic. We have to look at what are some of the factors that can impact the company getting to the next level, right? And what are some of the things that I need to do to ensure that those things are done and they're done well. You know, many times we're very optimistic about our companies and we forget that there are risks associated with the same. And so we go blinded to the investor, and investors start to ask you questions and you don't know what to say and what to do. So you have to be very careful there. All right. And finally, if a client is going to lend you money, you have to have an exit strategy. Whether it is that in the next 5 years, we're going to try to list on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, whether it's the junior stock exchange or the main index. And I'm going to raise some money in the markets and then I'll pay you out. Is a loan after 10 years, after 9 years, after 6 years, I'll be able to pay out based on my cash flow. Is it that I'm creating my business so that in the next 3 to 4 years, somebody can buy me? Remember, it's not that you want to go into business and run 140 years like a Grace Kennedy. You might not necessarily need that. Grace Kennedy gone 140 years. Why am I telling lie on Grace Kennedy? I think that's Westwood Old Girls Association 140. Grace Kennedy is 100 and something though. So you might not want to be in the market for so long. You might want to just be in the market for 3 to 10 years and then you sell. But you have to think through that process. How am I going to pay you back? Is it that I'm going to sell the business? Am I also looking for potential buyers? You know, or am I going to list on the stock exchange? But you know what is so important in all of this before we get to the questions? You have to make sure that you run your company properly. You have to make sure you're documenting, make sure you're keeping your accounts. You know, there are so many accounting software online, so you can get Xero, Begin, Zoho, so many accounting software that you can use to track your business. Because when you're going to list on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, you have to make sure you have proper accounting records. You have to make sure that you have a strategic plan as to what it is that you're going to do, when you're going to get there, right? Every year, I'm meeting with companies, guys, and large companies, and I'm asking, what is your strategic plan? And they don't have any. And that is why they're going through problems now, because they don't have a plan to go forward. All right, you have to have a strategic plan in place. In the next 5 years, this is what I want to accomplish. Not that it's going to happen the same way that you would have articulated it, but you are putting in place the activities that is going to get you. So say, for example, in a strategic plan under financial revenue, under financials, you say, I want to earn revenues of up to $100,000 by year 4. What are the activities that you're going to be putting in place every single month, every single day in order to move that needle? I want to achieve operational efficiency, productivity of 90% or whatever it is, whatever those metrics or key performance indicators are, what it is that you're trying to achieve, and then what are the activities that I'm going to do to get me there. You can't just sit down on the product alone. You have to look at the wider scheme of things. And that is why it is so important, guys, that we get members of our team, people who are bright, to advise you and to help you. Not just people who take business from a textbook and come and share it with you. There are people who have run their own business or in senior levels in organizations who understand the fundamentals of a business and are then able to help you. All right. So that is it from me in terms of my continuous talking. We're now going to have this session for questions. You have 10 minutes for questions. Over to you. And if you want me to go back to any slide, you can tell me to go back to a slide so we can discuss it in more details. I hope I haven't scared anybody because I'm not seeing any questions. Is everybody okay? All right, so I have 2 participants who have raised their hands. Let's see. Okay, let's start with my friend Mbuta. Go ahead.
Yes. Yes, you called my name correctly just now, Opal.
All right.
Oh, so so you were mentioning, I took notes on one point you were expounding on, but I didn't get what the point was. But basically it said this is affected by 1, customer acquisition, deepening
share of wallet.
So what was the point that you were expounding on?
Yes, when you're developing your sales strategy. So in developing your sales strategy, there are 4 things I said, or 3 things. 3 things I said that you need to focus on. Your client acquisition. How am I going to get clients?
Right.
Right?
So So you said customer acquisition, deepen share of wallet, repeat customers.
Right.
And what is your referral strategies? But I didn't make the point, so I just got the notes. What was the point?
Okay, so I thought I made it a while ago. So this is what I'm saying. When you are developing your sales strategy, so tell me what company you do, Culture.
Oh, so the company is Yard Roots and Culture. So we do we organize virtual and in-person cultural tours.
Okay, great. So the question is, how are you going to get customers to participate in your virtual tours? That's your customer acquisition strategy. How are you going to get those customers? Is it that we're going to look at the customer segment of persons who enjoy these tours, and we're going to call them, and we're going to go on social media, and we're going to go on traditional media, or we're going to send them emails through an email marketing campaign? What are the or we're going to do cold calls? What is that customer acquisition strategy? I have customers already who have done the tour. How am I going to get them to spend more money with me? Am I going to do other things on a tour? Am I going to sell merch because of the tour? Am I going to do other things that can cause them to spend more money with me? How am I going to get them to come back? So we've done a virtual tour of Blue Mountain. How can I get them to come back and do the virtual tour of the cockpit country? Right? And then finally, how do I create a referral strategy that because Opal has attended my tour, will she tell 10 or 12 of her friends? What am I going to do to incentivize Opal to share this information with others?
Excellent. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Daniel, your time.
Yes, Opal. My question is, you spoke about building a team. You said that we don't have to have the persons. It can be a person that have other business and they are bright and so on. However, how do we go about finding such persons?
All right, so that's difficult. That's difficult, Daniel. But what is going to be important is that you will have to, first of all, identify what are the areas that you're looking for. So say, for example, you're not strong in marketing, so I need to find somebody in marketing. I'm not strong in operations. I need to find somebody in operation. You can do some research. You can ask consultants in the market to find people for you. You have to be able to find that space to that person so that you can say, okay, you know, I think that this person is very good in marketing. Let me refer that person to you. You understand? So we can
Yeah.
actually look at it in that way. So you can actually go on the internet and search for persons. Go on the internet and search for persons so that they're able to help you to find right people for your company. You can find mentors and coaches who also have an access to a network of individuals, and then they will be able to help you to get people to support you. You understand?
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you. Yeah.
Raoul Dunkley. Raoul.
So far, I'm here. Okay, my question to you is,
Did I pronounce your name properly, Raoul?
yeah, man, you did,
I,
man. Awesome,
I.
awesome job. Raul is originally Italian by origin, but more popularly known as a Spanish name. But
Okay.
the official origin is really Italian. All right,
Okay.
let's get into it. So for me now, I like all
Yes.
that has been happening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on something. So what I'm most interested in is, what are the key breakdowns? I know you showed us a little, at least a table of
Uh-huh.
financials. But for me, like preparing for investment for the business, which is can come by way of funding, grants, or investment, right? What
Right.
is key to have in that proposal table of financials, my table of financials for proposal, like equipment, location, all the essentials. What is key to make sure I have in that table, in
All
that
right. So
proposal?
what is going? All right. So Raul, I hope I understand the question you're asking me.
Yes,
So you're saying that you want to get some investments, but you
right.
need to know what are the things that you must be asking for,
Yes, the essential things.
the
I mean,
essential things.
yes, I'm running a creative business, so there are things that I'll need, but apart from just equipment, staff, location, is there anything specific that must be added to that plan, to that financial table?
What is critical is that you
Yeah,
must put in there what you need.
right.
What
So,
is essential? I can't tell
right,
you what is essential for your business unless I know your business inside out. So say,
right.
for example, we are saying, I have to be careful because I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
show up a company. But say, for example, we're doing a baking company, right? So
Right.
we're
Baking.
baking bread, right? We're
Yes,
baking bread.
yes, yes.
What is critical to the manufacture of bread?
Well, definitely you need the flour, definitely sugar,
Before you
etc.
even need the flour, what do you need? You need an
Okay.
oven, not true?
Well, yeah, you're gonna need those
Right,
other equipment.
right.
So
So you're going to
raw
need your oven,
materials versus
right?
the industrial equipment.
Right. And you're going to need your utensils.
Yes. So
Right. So
those
you're
are
going to
those.
need your oven, you're going to need your
Mhm.
utensils, you're going to need your mixer to mix the flour,
Yes.
right? And then
Right.
you're going to need your inventory
And you need
items. So in terms of the flour, sugar, flour, sugar, whatever, yeast, whatever else that you need in your bread,
you
right?
need your production staff and
Right.
supervising staff the same.
Right.
All right,
So
cool.
it's very, so for each company, Raul, is going to be
Mhm.
very specific to exactly what is going to be on that list. But
Right.
what is on that list, Raul, is what
Mhm.
is important to
Mhm.
the success of your business. What is
Cool.
critical to get your business up and running.
Cool. So in other words, I need to put a contingency on if needs be too.
Yeah, man,
Right.
of course. Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and is there any specific rates or percentage for contingency you would say?
I wouldn't pass more than 5 to 7%
Five
of
to
the
seven?
total amount that you're asking for. Yeah.
Right, as a contingency, right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And the next thing I would ask now, I would do mine in two phases.
Right.
Let's say, okay, perfect example of what I'm doing current. I'd
Mm-hmm.
use a 3-year phase and then a
Mm-hmm.
7-year, meaning that to get to the total goal of amount of people and
Mm-hmm.
to have fully furnished, established location, I'll do it in 2 phases. So that would be like year 3, then a year 7, which means that would lead me on to 10, right? So year 3 would lead me on to 5, year 5 would lead me on to 7, which equals me out to 10, as in my full 10-year projection mentally.
Right.
So
But why are you taking so long to bring yourself to that stage? Just
for the
answer
3
the
to
question.
7, for the
Yeah.
for the 3 year. Well, that would be to accumulate the staff and to expand on the equipment needed for that space. Then we
Right.
push the operation continuous, as in milestones of earning. And then from that, now we can see ourselves get into the extra team members and expansion by year 7. So we do it incrementally. So we can get there faster, yes, but we're looking at it paced based on how many clients we can get and how many services we can push out, as in the merchandise. So it's both offering IP, selling IP, but also using the same skill sets to also service customers. So while we're focusing on putting out what we want as merchandise, then we're also utilizing the same services to supply customers who need the help with theirs. See? So that's my whole process of making money. So while we're making money, as in creating it from thin year, we're also servicing people. So therefore, there's never a break or loss in cash flow. We'll be making money on either side.
All right.
So that's the process. So it's strategically placed, as in the timing, from 3 years to get to 3 years, then from 3 to 7. But if needs be and it moves quicker based on how things work, fine, we'll be pushing ahead for that too.
For that, okay, yeah, man, that's good. You just have to make sure that you are that it lines up with your cash flow. It lines up with your ability to capture your addressable market, because you remember we said that you want to increase the urgency of demand, so you want to do whatever is necessary to pull people in quickly,
right?
And as you're pulling them in, you're able to honor the sales, because you don't want any blockout period. You don't want any period where the customer comes to a product and you tell them you don't have any.
Right.
Right. So you want to make sure that at the same time you're pulling people in, you're able to honor, you're able to get your cash flow, and you're able to I'm so sorry, and you're able to do what you have to do going forward. You understand what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So that become critical. So thank you so much, Raul.
Yes.
I'm going to talk to Nadia, and then I'm going to go into the question box, because there are a lot of questions there in the chat. All right. So Nadia, over to you. And thank you, Raul. Nadia, over to you, and then I'll
Thank you
answer the
very
questions.
much too.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Nadia? Have I lost you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, just got it. Question is pretty quick over. I was wondering, after we've pitched, right? What are must-haves for the investors to see? I know clearly they need to see financials. If I don't have any financials, I guess it's like cash flow. But what are those things that, if they ask me, I want to ensure that I have it at the end of that pitch?
You need to have a prototype. So say you're doing a product, it would be good for you to have a prototype. So before you go to an investor, see if you can get some grant to develop the prototype, because it's going to be difficult for them to use their minds to conceptualize what that product is going to be. What is going to also be important, Nadia, is that you also need to have some customer feedback. Like what is the customer saying about this product? And it has to be honest. And you don't go after customers that are your friends and going to say, yes, Nadia, man, that will work. You really have to go after your customer, your target market, and say, I am carrying this product. What are your thoughts? But you have to have some objectives, Nadia, in terms of what information do you want to pull from your customer. All right. And so the questions that you ask when you're developing your customer development activities must be pulling or soliciting these responses that will help you to make the right decision. So the investor is going to want to know what amount of conversations have you been having and what are persons saying. right? You need to have a good competitive analysis, because they need to know what is happening out there in the market via competition and how are you going to make that difference. They're going to need to know, even if you don't have your financial statement, they need to have, you need to have your cash flow projection. Like, how am I going to be selling so that every month I'm able to make money? Is not necessarily a profit, but have enough to cover my expenses. All right, you have to be able to show them your sales strategy. What are you going to do to drive sales into your business? As I said to Raul a while ago, what are you going to do to create that emergency or that urgency in the demand? They need to know all of these things. All right, but the only physical thing that you would really need is a prototype. Everything else is what you would capture in a presentation like this. But Nadia, one thing that you must carry to that presentation is your brain and knowledge, because they're going to shoot questions at you and you have to be able to answer. Yeah, and practice in front of a mirror, because I've been to a presentation once, and the custom and the sales rep, sorry, my apologies, the founder / CEO could not speak. He was like speechless. He was like, he had stage fright. He couldn't speak when they started to ask questions. He got so nervous. You understand? So keep practicing. I know that these people are human beings, and they really want to invest, and that is why they're sitting in front of you. They really want to invest. So you just have to be able to convince them that your company is the company that they need to invest in, because it is going to give them the return on their investment. And the final thing I'd say, Nadia, is that, you know, in our society, in the Jamaican society, our investors are risk averse. So it's very easy for them to invest in a product that is offered by a financial institution, because they would believe that the financial institution would have done their due diligence. The broker would have done their due diligence and the analysis of the financials and all of those things already for them. So it's easy for them to, so somebody list on the stock exchange, oh, we're purchasing it, and them oversubscribe. But for you to go to an investor, the competition is the Jamaica Stock Exchange. So how are you willing to look at all of these things that these persons are going, who want to go on the Junior Stock Exchange? And this is what I've listed in the presentation, what it is that they are presenting, and how can I create a very similar presentation so that the investors are excited about wanting to invest in my company. All right. And guys, there's a lot of help out there, but you have to be willing to work, because I find that sometimes, you know, CEOs and founders of these companies just want to say, here, Opal, do this, do this, do this. No, you have to be able to do some of the work. It's your company, it's your baby. A consultant is only helping you to deliver that baby. But you need to know what color eyes, what color ears, sorry, what size ears, etc. that the baby needs to have. The consultant is just helping you to carry it to market. You have to understand that market, all right? All right, thank you, Nadia. Hope I answered your question.
You did, thank you.
All right, so, okay, so let me quickly go through this. My apologies, I have to leave, or Malik has left us. Okay, so for grants so for grants, you can put in grants, Nadia, as other revenue, but you have to make sure that it is properly articulated, or other income, but it is properly articulated when you when you are presenting your accounts, because you want to make sure that it is not a representation of sales. So you can put it in as other income in your business, or investments in your business. All right. Any other questions? Are we out of time? I love this. I love this group. Are we out of time? Oh Lord, we're 10 minutes over time. I'm so sorry. I just chatting away and don't realize. How do we pay this management team if your company not making money? You have to talk to people. Yeah, I'm Rushan. People, you see, when you're running a business, but when you're starting a business, you have to build up a network of people who are going to have your back. And you have to say to them, listen, this is the company that I have. This is the company that I want to build. I really don't have the monies right now, but I want you to help me to develop this company. What can you do? How can I pay you? How can I compensate you? How can I pay you in the back? So after I have raised the capital, I can give you some monies. But many times we come to the table, Rushana, we're not offering anybody any money. We're just going like, oh, you are entitled to do this, and so you entitled to do it free. No, you have to say, boy, Opal, I want some help, but I don't have the money right now. Help me to develop this business, which I have done many times for entrepreneurs who are serious. Help me to develop this business. And when I raise money, I will pay you. Or when you help me to raise money, I pay you. That's fine. And there are many other people out there who are willing to do that, but you have to find them. You have to find them, and you must be willing to pay, and you must be willing to do your work. The work is important. All right. Have I missed any questions? Are there any other questions from me? Notebook is filling. Oh, no. Raul. Is it wise to compensate salary with equity? What does that mean, Kerrick? Kerrick, what does that mean? Kerrick? Kerrick, can we unmute Kerrick?
All right. Good morning, right? It's morning. Right. So I was saying, in the case where you have your team, right? And as I say, you don't have enough salary as yet to pay them, is it okay to say, I'll offer this much of my company in compensation of the service? So let's say each employee let's say each employee get like 5% equity or 2%. Is that a wise decision to make or not?
Let me see if I understand. Are you saying sweat equity? That means persons work for their contribution is equity in the business. Is that the question you're asking me? I'm trying to understand.
Yes, that's the question I'm asking.
Yes, that is possible. There's even a term for it. It's called sweat equity. Yes, Kerrick. So you can find persons who will say, yeah, man, I'll work for you. I'll give you 2% of the business. Last week I was driving from Montego Bay, and an entrepreneur came and said, boy, Opal, I need your expertise. Can I get advice from you and I give you 2% of my company, or whatever percentage he said, I don't remember. And I said, yeah, no problem. I really don't need the equity, but at least I know that you're willing to compensate me for the work. Yeah, so yeah, man, you can do that. You can do that, Kerrick. In fact, that's the best way to do it now when you're starting up. And you have to, Kerrick, the truth is, Kerrick, you have to find people with the skill set, the knowledge, you know, and help them to and get them to understand and buying and know that you're willing to work. Because a number of entrepreneurs not willing to work, them have the idea and that's all they have, and then they want everybody else to do the work, and it's not going to work. You have to be willing to do it. All right. Do you offer coaching or an investor pitches as a service? Yes, Nadia. Opal, please report your contact info. I missed the first slide. 876-431-8823. That's my personal number. You can call it. All right. Are there any questions? 876-431-8823. Are there any other questions for me? It is almost, we're out of time, but I hope you guys learned a lot today. I really hope you guys learned a lot. I had a lot of fun sharing with you. I know it was an early morning thing, but I really hope you guys learned a lot. And, you know, Kingston Creative is here to support you. And as they extend to me, I'm here also willing to work with you and support you along the way, but you must come ready to do the work. All right. All right, that's it from me. Kingston Creatives, over to you.
Thank you so much, Opal. Can you folks hear me?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. Opal, you've done such a great job in expressing exactly what it is that the creatives need to understand about their businesses in order to make an effective pitch to potential investors. So on behalf of the Kingston Creative team, I'd like to thank you. And of course, on behalf of the participants, thank you so much for taking 2 hours, 2.25 hours of your Saturday to come and share with us. We really appreciate it. We appreciate your knowledge, your time, and your passion. So thank you so much. All the participants who have been here, thank you so much for being so invested and so interested in your own development that you've decided to spend the time with us this Saturday. It's been a real pleasure. We really look forward to all of you participating in the Best Pitch Forward competition. I had actually dropped the link in the chat a little bit earlier on, but you can go to the kingstoncreative.org webpage, look for present projects and look for Best Pitch Forward, and you'll be able to find it. Like I said, I had dropped the link in the chat earlier today. So looking forward to seeing all the decks coming in, hoping that you all will be able to book sessions for the review of your decks. And yes, thank you very much. It's been a great morning.
And thank you too for having me, and thank you guys for the Opal, your swag turn up. I have no clue what that means, but thank you so much. Thank you so much, Culture. And Nikisha is asking for us to do this in person. Nikisha, I'm going to shoot you. And thank you so much, Kingston Creatives, for having me. And thank you all for an exciting day and just for being so engaging. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks again and have a good Saturday.
Thank you, Opal. Thank you, everyone.
Recording stopped.